not pornography, it's adult entertainment. It's not a used car, it's pre-owned. Marketers come up with all sorts of clever terms to obscure an inconvenient truth, and journalists should steer clear of such weasel words. But when it comes to gambling, the local media seems to have let down its guard, judging by how often the industry-preferred term gaming creeps into news copy. For example, this Boston Globe subhead gets it right, referring to casino supporters as gambling supporters. But then columnist Shirley Lung refers to the state's casino law as the gaming law. Same thing over at the Boston Herald. This headline refers to gambling foes, but the first words in the article, now they're gaming foes. We've had this debate several times right here at WGBH, and we were all sort of determined to call it gambling as opposed to gaming, but then I heard on the radio today, you sort of fall into industry speak, and if that's the message they want to get out, that's like, they call it the Gaming Commission, but then Scott Allen was on Jim Browdy's show the other day calling it the Gambling Commission. Jim says, I think it's gaming. He says, no. It's the proper term is gambling.
No, but it is the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. That is the official name of it.
He's calling it gambling commission.
You know, obviously it's a euphemism.
Yeah.
I think that what a lot of people in the media have decided to do is they figure we'll call it gambling sometimes to make opponents happy, and then we'll call it gaming sometimes to make the proponents happy. And it should be gambling.
If you go to the Gaming or Gambling Industry Association website, you'll find they have a page that says, actually gaming is a word that has a much longer history that goes back hundreds of years earlier than the word gambling. I mean, I will say when I think of my own internal uses, I think of the gaming industry and that the act is gambling. The gambling is the act and gaming is the industry, but I can't tell if that's just my own bias that I've sort of, I'm not a big gambler myself, but
could include pinball.
I think you can I can imagine a world where both are acceptable terms, but you're right, gambling does imply the sort of sin and vice elements of it in a way that I'm sure people who don't like it are in favor of.
I think one of the underlying elements here, which I'm sure the gambling industry is very aware of, is that there's been social science research, and when you talk to people about things, you know, in the gaming industry versus the gambling industry, they are much more negative about gambling than they are about gaming. So they can read an article, right, same article, and that you change one word, and already they have a different prejudice. I guarantee you, this is true with everything. We talk about climate change, global warming, you know, all these things. That the people who have a vested interest in making sure it is couched in the absolute best way have looked into it, and they're presenting it to you the way they want you to say it back to them.
The estate tax versus the death tax.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Well, you remember the long ago struggle about anti-abortion and
yes, pro-choice, yes, exactly.
That whole thing. So there is that. But it's gambling, and what's interesting to me is that to see how much adoption has happened is that gaming is very much identified with video gaming, with those games. I mean, that's very clear. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's gambling, and the other stuff that people are doing this with is gaming. End of story. You know, I don't care if it's the Gaming Commission. It's ridiculous.
We're changing that name.